Well, I am so incredibly excited that I get to jump in and present another Pillar of Excellence Award, our Advocate of the Year Award, which is actually probably an Advocate of a Lifetime Award. Sis Wenger has been, I think, a force of nature in our community for decades. Raising the importance of addressing and improving services and outcomes for children affected by addiction. As you know, one of these kids, now a grown up, I can tell you how much it means to us that Sis has dedicated her entire career and set up an organization, NACOA, the National Association for Children of Addiction, and created programs, services. We've worked together for so long. Sis raises her hand and will persist in making sure that kids impacted by addiction don't get left off the agenda, right? Consistent, passionate commitments to an issue that is an issue and a population that are too often overlooked. I have had the privilege of serving on Sis's board of directors when I think I was like in my 20s. Somehow Sis has convinced me to run 2 marathons to support fundraising and raising new resources for the kids that need it the most. You just sort of have no choice but to get engaged when Sis Wenger is there in engaging you and challenging you to do more and for us all to do better for this population. We're really excited. The title of her award specifically is Advocate of the Year. And we've had, and we also sort of informally call this the McCaffrey Award for our first board chairman, General McCaffrey. I think that, and he joined us yesterday, but this award has gone through for several years, a number of people that they use their voice, their talents, their time to make a difference and persist even when this hasn't been the trendiest issue to be, speaking on and working in. And I think that our unsung heroes, those like Sis, need to be elevated. You are our pillars that are changing the way we address addiction nationwide. And we have a video to share of Sis and some of her colleagues. If Haley, if you could tee that up. I also, on a personal note, I just want to also add that Sis is a mentor of mine. I've learned from Sis, and she has been a consistent guiding voice and someone I can rely on through my career, my professional career. She is wise and smart and caring and always compassionate in everything that she does, which speaks volumes to those that she's been able to serve, as well as those she's been able to engage in this topic and to grow the focus over her lifetime, over her career. So Sis, this is for you. And I know that many colleagues of Sis's, some of her family members, I believe her son was going to join us today. We don't have, we sent a very small token of our appreciation, our Advocate of the Year Award, and we have this video montage. It feels like a very small thank you in comparison to your accomplishments, Sis, and all that you've done for the world. But we are honored that we get to celebrate you today.
Sis is a dear, dear friend and a force of nature. She's one of the most effective advocates really ever for standing up for children who have been affected by living in a family with someone who has a substance use disorder.
When I think of Sis, many words come to mind. Relentless, a fighter, tireless, a strong, clear, powerful voice, a big heart and a compassionate spirit, a champion for children.
Sis is one of those tireless advocates that doesn't miss any opportunity in any meeting with anybody whether it's in the White House or on the Hill or with educators or with the clergy, to make sure that everyone is aware that we need to identify and provide really appropriate programs and services without pathologizing children who live in households with people suffering from substance use disorders, to make sure that they know that they're not responsible for the problems, that they can't solve them, but they really need help dealing with the trauma that ensues from growing up in those environments.
CIS advocates for products for children and families to help them find a path to help, hope, and healing, like the 7 C's for kids and NACOA's kit for parents and grandparents. CIS advocates for programs like Celebrating Families and Celebrando Familias, where the entire family comes together to learn, to grow, and to heal.
CIS, you're amazing. You've been an incredible role model to me as someone who's dedicated literally multiple decades of their life to fighting for a cause, to making sure that your voice is heard above all others, and that the kids that we all care about receive the services and the programs and the support that they need to be able to lead the best lives that they possibly can. So I want to thank CIS for her decades and decades of amazing advocacy, and Jessica Nickel of Addiction Policy Forum for asking me to speak on behalf of my great friend CIS Wenger. So thank you, everybody, and congratulations, CIS.
I was once one of those little kids that CIS Wenger advocates for today. And so on behalf of millions and millions of boys and girls all across America, kids like me, who are typically the first hurt and the last helped, thank you, CIS Wenger. Your leadership, dedication, and commitment today allows boys and girls to hear important messages, such as, it's not your fault, and you are not alone, and there are safe people and safe places that can help you. Advocate of the Year? No. Advocate for a lifetime.
Hello, it's an honor to be here today on this wonderful occasion at the Addiction Policy Forum. I want to start off by thanking Sue Sal, my good friend, and my good friend Jerry Moe for their wonderful words. When I think about either one of those people, I think they are advocacy in motion and have been all their professional lives. So I'm really pleased to have been introduced by those special people. I also want to thank the Addiction Policy Forum, not only for this very lovely award, which I will treasure, but also for, and even more so, for the work that they do to support all the rest of us in the field. I think back 40 years when I first got involved in this field. I was working in a juvenile delinquency prevention project where the youngsters being helped were identified by the courts as children of parents going through a volatile divorce. And it was deemed that if we could help those young people get through that difficult period with their family, that they might come out all right on the other side. Along the way, though, in our discussions with the groups and planning, we realized that the one thing that was never mentioned by the social workers or psychologists who trained the volunteers, nor the judges' staff, was that over 80% of these families that were breaking up because there was a lot of volatile behavior, but it was connected to drinking every time. So we decided that we really needed to try and educate people who were making decisions about young people, about the nature of addiction and what it does to the family, what it does to the children, and basically the rest is history. NACOA was formed a few years later. I have seen whole school systems transform their school system to bring in student assistance programs. I've seen clergy creating education programs in their congregations, and I've seen some congregations turning into a welcoming congregation for people who are struggling with addiction, whether it's the addicted person themselves or the family. I have even seen Sesame Street create a section on parental addiction to help those people who work with very young children understand what's going on in their lives and help them in guiding them with the typical wonderful Sesame Street tools. So my life has been rich in these last 40 years, and I guess you can best define what I've been doing as advocacy, and I'm very grateful to the Addiction Policy Forum for honoring me tonight with this award. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Sue Thaw and Jerry Moe for providing comments, really amazing advocates and practitioners themselves. And we're sending our segment to Sis and her colleagues and family and friends so they can watch this later today. But I know that our whole network here at APF sends our our just huge levels of gratitude for your work, Sis. You really are an inspiration.